This is a simple retirement plan for self-employed people. I am Mr. Doogie. A simple way for a self-employed person to put aside money for retirement is the SEP IRA, which is a simplified employee pension plan. You can open an SEP IRA at any bank or other financial institution. Personally, I use Schwab. You can then go through and contribute as much as 25% of your net earnings from your self-employment business, but only 20% of those earnings are tax deductible, meaning that you don't pay taxes on them this year. Then you invest in something and let them grow. A simple thing to invest in is an S&P 500 mutual fund. Then you sit back and wait until you reach age 70 and you start withdrawing that money and pay taxes on what you withdraw at the time you withdraw it. It is very simple to go through and open an SEP IRA. Almost every bank and again every financial institution that handles stock and investment accounts can set these up for you. Most of them already have an IRS approved SEP IRA plan. They're very easy to set up for. You just go in and tell them that you want to do it. Make sure you say it's an SEP style IRA and that there are different types of IRAs. Many of them may have a minimum deposit. Schwab doesn't require any deposit at all, so you can go through and open it even before you have any money to put in there. I mentioned there are several different types of IRAs. The magic about the SEP IRA for self-employed people is the government will allow you to contribute as much as 25% of your net earnings from your self-employment business. That's a very large amount of money. So it allows you to set aside a very large amount of money, tax deferred, so that it can grow until age 70 when you're ready to use it. You don't have to contribute the full amount, but once you've got an SEP IRA set up, then you can go through and contribute however much you're comfortable with year by year. And if you want to put in a very large amount of your income, you can contribute as much as 25% of your net earnings. But only 20% of your net earnings are going to be tax deductible. So even though you can contribute up to 25% of your net earnings, not all of that will be tax deductible. One of the interesting things about using an SEP IRA is that even though you can deduct 20% of your net earnings, you don't really know for sure what your net earnings are for your business until the end of the year when you sit down and do your taxes. So your tax software that you use is going to come in and tell you, okay, based on your income for the year and what all your business deductions are and your 25% contribution rate, this is the amount of money that you can deduct from your income this year. So it won't be until December or January before you actually know what that number is. But the best way to make your contributions is during the year, like every month. So each month you could go through and kind of estimate, okay, how much business profit have I made this month? And if you've made a certain amount, then take and deposit 20% of that into the SEP IRA, or maybe even 15%. And then when you get into January and you know what the actual number is, you have January, February, and March of the following year that you can also make contributions to that tax year. So you really have more like 15 months that you can make your contributions to your SEP IRA. So make some estimated contributions during the year, and then in January, February, March of the next year, make the final contribution so that you deposit exactly what you're going to report on your income taxes. Once you have your SEP IRA set up, and you have some contributions in there, you can invest it in pretty much a lot of different things. You can invest it in stocks, you can invest it in bonds, you can invest it in mutual funds. For people who are interested in doing that and have learned how to do that, this can be a very nice, fun thing to do. For people who aren't savvy in the stock market and how to do investment, Warren Buffett advises a very simple plan. Invest in a mutual fund that tracks the S&P 500. Okay. One of the magics of this is there are no fees, there are no commissions, there is no advisor that you're paying for. You just go into your account and once a month or however often that you're making your contributions, you go in and you buy more shares of that mutual fund and whatever dollar amount you're interested in. So this is very simple. It's going to make money for you, and you don't have to pay any advisors or any fees to do this. You can go in and buy these once a year. So if you want to wait till January to where you know exactly how much it's going to be and you make your contribution and you buy it all at once, you can do that. If you want to buy it once a month and estimate, you can do that. If you want to buy once a week, you can do that. If you wanted to go in and buy every day, you could do that. So you have a lot of flexibility. So for someone who does not understand the stock market, this is a very simple plan that is going to make money for you. So the next question people are interested in is, so just how much money will this make for me and how long is it going to take? In recent years, the stock market, the S&P 500, has been growing at about 10% per year. So if you were going in and putting money into the S&P 500, let's say once a month, you can probably kind of estimate that that is going to grow at 10% per year for you, which is a lot more than any savings account or anything else is going to do for you. And in the long term, you know that the stock market's going to go up. The stock market goes up and down on the short term, but in the long term, it always goes up. But this is going to take a long time. This is not a get-rich-quick plan. This is a get-rich-slow plan. It's going to take many, 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 many years for your contributions to grow into a sizable nest egg that you can use to retire on. So let's look at an example of how this would work. I picked some numbers that are easy for the math. So let's say that your self-employment business is bringing in $70,000 a year, and you have $10,000 worth of business deductions. That leaves you with net earnings of $60,000, which I picked because it's nice and easy, and it makes all the math work. So your tax-deductible contribution that you can make to your SEP IRA is $60,000 a year times 20%, which turns out to be $12,000 a year, which is very nice because it also turns out to be $1,000 a month that you can contribute to your SEP IRA. So the next question is, so how much money am I going to get and how long is it going to take for it to happen? Okay, so let's assume that you are putting in $1,000 a month and it is growing at an average rate of 10% per year, which is probably not what it's just going to do. It's going to go up and down. So some months you're going to put in more than 1,000, some months you're going to put in less than 1,000, some months the stock market's going to be way up, some months the stock market's going to be way down. But on average over time, let's say that you're averaging $1,000 a month and the market is growing at 10% per year. In something less than 20 years, your nest egg is going to grow to $500,000. And in something less than 25 years, it's going to grow to $1 million. And up around 30 years, it's going to reach $2 million. Hey, those are pretty cool numbers. But you've got to put aside $1,000 a month in order for that to happen. If you're not putting aside $1,000 a month, let's say you're only putting out $500 a month, then those times are going to take more time. Then at that point, you're not going to reach that $500,000 nest egg until something shy of 25 years. And it's going to take 30 years for your nest egg to grow to 1 million. Okay. Now, if you're not even putting in that much, let's say you're only putting in an average of $250 a month, then after 30 years, your nest egg is going to only be half $1,000,000. But you're still going to get there. The really cool thing about this is you don't need that money until you retire, which is typically age 70. So 30 years from 70 says, you could start this at age 40, and by the time you retire, even putting aside $250 a month, and by the time you retire at age 70, you've got $500,000 sitting there waiting for you. Okay, the sooner you start, the larger that nest egg will be, which is why we always encourage people start doing this when you are young, because now is the only time you've got literally decades for this money to build and grow for you. Don't wait till you're old to start doing this. The next question people want to know is, so when do I get to use this money? Well, this is not a savings account. You can't just put money in there this year, wait 2 or 3 years and say, oh, look, I've got $100,000 in there. I want to go buy a new house with it. No, you can't do that. That's not what it's for. It's an individual retirement account, meaning that it is tax deferred so that you create a giant nest egg so that when you retire, you don't have to work and you still got a nice income. That's its purpose. So typically the government you reach full retirement at age 70. In fact, the government is going to force you to start pulling money out once you hit age 70. You can start pulling money out a little bit before that, and it all depends on which type of IRA you have and everything else, so go look that up if you want to. But you're going to put this money aside with the intention of, I am never going to spend this money until I reach age 70. And then once I reach age 70, I never have to work again because I've got this giant nest egg sitting there that I can live off of. That's what it's for. This is called tax deferred because you get to deduct this money from your taxes in the year that you contribute it to your IRA. It grows tax-free, which is the really magic of IRAs, and then you pay taxes on it as you pull it out of your IRA after you reach age 70. That's the way it works. And there you have it, a very simple plan for any self-employed person to set up an individual retirement account that allows them to contribute up to 25% of their business net earnings and deduct 20% of that from their taxes, and thereby generate a really fabulous nest egg so that when you turn 70, you never have to work again. Enjoy.